Okay, we're back, baby. Had a little hiatus there, Lonnie, but we're back. We are back in action with the Realtor Rant. And today we're going to talk about, I'm going to kind of interview you and find out why you switched from a traditional model brokerage to more of a modern digital brokerage, virtual brokerage, because I've only
Cloud-based.
What's that?
Cloud-based.
Cloud-based, thank you. Because I've only ever known the cloud-based model. That's actually where I started. And so I don't know what life is like at a traditional brokerage. So let's just dive in, Lonnie. All right, so just tell us briefly, what was your experience like at the traditional brokerage model?
Well, it's more of, kind of has a corporate feel, I would say. There's an office, normally there's a desk manager, there's always someone there available. It kind of has more of that 9 to 5 feel than you would say like a cloud-based brokerage does. And for me, making a switch to a cloud-based brokerage was more about having freedom and efficiency to have my business at my fingertips versus having to feel like I had to go into an office for support.
Okay. And then and by the way, at the end of this video, I'm sorry, I should have said this at the beginning, but at the end of the video, I am going to give a couple of news updates, highlights. So stay tuned for that, guys. All right. So what were the biggest frustrations that made you start questioning the traditional model? Because I remember when I started 5 years ago, I was like, hey, you should really, I was trying to get you to come over. At that point, it was EXP. And I was like, this is the future, and I was trying to sell you on it. And you took like a year or so, and you were kind of, skeptical. But what was it that finally made you decide to switch over to that model and go away from the traditional?
Oh, it was a few things. One, I had felt like I had kind of capped out and reached my ceiling at the brokerage that I was at. I started to kind of feel like I was looking for a change. And also, there were signs on the wall that my particular branch office was starting to decline. So there were a couple factors in there that made me finally decide to pull the trigger and look for a different option. And the only models I had known were the traditional brokerage option. So it just kind of felt like a natural progression to try something new.
Yeah. And it's sort of, I mean, like, were there, okay, but looking back, were there specific frustrations? Because I remember you used to get kind of irritated with, I remember you complaining about some of the calls that you were on and sort of this like pressure that you felt to participate even when you didn't want to, sort of thing. Like you said, it kind of had that employee feeling, whereas
Yeah.
maybe now would you say it's more of like you run your own business, you can contribute where you want to, but there's not this like someone, right over your shoulder kind of mentality.
Yeah, it was more like kind of drinking the Kool-Aid, more of a rah-rah sort of thing. Everything, which I do agree, right? We need to track our numbers. We need what we need to, we need to see where we are, where we want to go, and how we're going to get there. But for me, the monthly rewards and accolades of top producer or this and that, and a lot of months I did get the awards for top producers or most listings, most closed units, whatever it was that month. I was receiving those type of awards. They just weren't important to me. So it just kind of felt like a little bit of a waste of time in my mind. That those type of awards don't help me get to the next level of success. I know it is important for some people, and I completely appreciate, if that is how you gauge your success. For me, that just wasn't the case. So I didn't feel like I had to stay put in a traditional model, kind of doing those traditional activities.
Yeah. And then, for me, I mean, I'm on a team with Epic. I'm on a top producing team here in Atlanta. We do have an office. I've been in the lobby once. I have never been into the office. I have no idea what the office actually is.
Yeah.
No clue. I don't think anyone actually goes in there.
I have a team and I have an office and I barely go into it. Now, my girls, they do go into it more than I do, which makes me happy because I know that it's getting used. So wherever people need to go to get the work done, whether it be an office, a coffee shop, if you have a home office, if you like to work at your kitchen table, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter where you're working. It matters that you're being consistent and you're getting the work done and doing those money-making activities. And for me, a lot of times, like I felt like going into the office was more like going to recess and like playing. Like I'd have more fun just like chit-chatting with the different agents. I was less productive when I would go into the office versus when I was out of the office.
Yeah, with our team, not to get too off track, but as far as the structure goes, and I think it actually works. We have a big team. I mean, we've got, I don't know, maybe around 30 or so agents. Don't quote me on that. But we have twice weekly calls. First is like a whole team call. The second on Fridays is more of like coaching call that need it. And then the first one is more of like a whole team call. And then we have a Slack. And so we're in constant communication. It's actually like we get together on occasion. We'll do like events and stuff, and we'll get together for random things. But mostly we're talking on Slack. We have different channels in Slack. So I don't feel like we're on an island by any means, even though I never go into an office. But we have trainings and all that. Anyway, so was there
just beyond your team, you have all the tools at your fingertip through our Epic app as well.
Yeah, which admittedly I don't really go in much
because you have the team support.
Probably, yeah. I don't use that much. As far as the communication goes, now Georgia, we have a WhatsApp channel. So there's
we do in Florida too.
Okay, y'all do too.
Yeah, it's blowing up all of the time.
Yeah, that's too.
It's like bling, bling, bling.
But I feel like it works pretty well to keep people in the know of events and stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
So was there a specific moment that pushed you to make the switch? Do you remember like what it was that was sort of the cherry on top that you were like, I'm done. I'm moving over to cloud-based?
We had a transition in a matter of like 6 months with 3 different team leaders. And that's when I kind of knew that there was like trouble in paradise. There was just some writing on the wall that, again, for me, it was a little bit different because it was an office thing. But overall, if I feel like I've gotten to a point at a brokerage where I've reached my ceiling and the cost to be at a brokerage doesn't seem like the value is there anymore, that is typically when I go to switch brokerages. Now, what's cool about the cloud-based model is when you feel like you're starting to reach a ceiling, you're interacting with people all over the country and it's at your fingertips. So you can always find new ways to break through that ceiling and get to a new level of success that I don't feel was obtainable in the traditional office model.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. It does kind of open you up to, really the world. There's so many different ways to make money in this business. And yeah, I lost my train of thought, but you said something I was going to highlight. Oh, do you think that new agents should start at a brick and mortar?
I have been a proponent of that pretty much up until recently. And I do think that it comes down to an individual's learning style, how self-motivated they are, and the commitment that they're going to make to themselves, especially as a new agent, because everything that you learn inside real estate school is not practical learning to what you actually go out and learn in the field. So Century 21, Keller Williams, top-notch training for beginners agents. I think that there's something about sitting with other new agents in a life setting, having tangible books. I'm old school. I think that there's something that's really important and effective about that versus virtual online training. Now, that being said, if you're self-motivated and dedicated and you can do more of a quick pace online learning, I do think that there's space in cloud-based brokerages for new agents. It just comes down to the individual and their learning type, I would say, more than anything. To complement Epic, what they are doing and the amount of training that they offer agents is bar none. Like, I've never seen it in any other cloud-based brokerage. I will say that. And then to add a traditional sense with an area leader to kind of mentor agents at no cost to them, that also holds community events. So you can still have that camaraderie, collaboration, and fellowship with inside a cloud-based brokerage is very, very unique and effective for that transition for those agents that need a little bit more in-person, tangible type of relationships and not just solely a cloud-based model. So I really do compliment Epic and what we've built to kind of merge the two models to make it inclusive for all agents to thrive and succeed at whatever level they want to do so.
Yeah, I know it's a tough question I threw at you. It's not really a perfect answer because it is so dependent upon the individual. You know, the person, who is fresh out of high school, who's never had a sales job in their life, who just passed their real estate exam versus, the seasoned sales rep who transitions over to become a realtor, who's already worked remotely for many years, who knows who's very resourceful. I mean, you just can't compare the two. It's going to be.
And I've experienced both ways, right? Like being an area leader and a coach. I talk to agents and I talk to new agents, and I go over with them their style of learning, what is important to them, and how they best learn. And then we kind of go over the difference. I mean, I've had people that have wanted to join me, the team, but their style of learning, I've recommended that they go to Keller Williams, that they get that education, and they agreed. So, for me, it's not just about attracting agents to say I'm attracting agents. It's about attracting agents to manage expectations and for the ultimate longevity of them being with me and being with Epic and their success ultimately, right? So sometimes you have to kind of go left before you can go right. And then some people jump right in and they say, I don't need that. I'm self-motivated. I'm easily self-taught. I love the idea of an area leader. I love the idea of still being able to have a community, in-person community, but I don't need the full on going and sitting down for 8 hours a day inside a class. And then I'm like, great. This is a great model for you to jump into. So it really just depends on how the conversation goes, but ultimately the success of the agent is what is most important to me. And so even if it's not joining me at Epic, it's making sure that they find the right fit so that they can be successful in real estate altogether.
Okay. How has your daily work life changed since moving to a cloud brokerage?
Well, I've been with a cloud brokerage for a while now, but it really hasn't a ton, because even with the cloud-based or the traditional model, I was kind of like the rebel, right? Like I was the one that would skip the weekly meetings and, I wouldn't go to the in-person trainings and I would just pop in what I wanted. So, but I'm self-motivated in that way. So for me, it wasn't really important. And it hasn't really changed too drastically much in a day-to-day productive perspective.
Okay. Can you give an example of a tool or system that makes your life easier now?
I would say overall, everything is streamlined a little bit easier because everything is on my phone. It's inside our dashboard, or we have our apps that we use. So I would say it's just a combination of having all the systems that I need at my fingertips to make sure that I'm following up with my database. I have my transaction management system, so no matter where I am, I can effectively do what I need to do to write contracts, send emails, do follow-up calls. So it's more of just having that overall system at my fingertips versus needing to go in person or have to sit down at a laptop to get work done.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And then how has your business or income been affected since you left traditional for cloud-based?
It's grown, and it's grown in three folds because it's not anymore, right? It also includes agent attraction. It also includes stock options, and it also includes smarter ways of marketing using social media and AI.
Okay.
So everything has grown, and it's not, this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So it's finding the right amount of transactions, attraction, and wealth building with inside. So it's more of like a 5-year vision and plan of like, and then how do we get there and how do we execute it to get there?
Let's talk about culture and community. So what's the culture like at a modern brokerage versus a traditional one?
Again, I haven't been to a traditional model in quite a few years. So I would say that, you have more of that. In my experience, when I was there, you kind of have more of that corporate in office. People come in at 9, they normally leave at 5, or they're bouncing in and out. I mean, let's be candid. If you're in an office all day long, you're probably not selling a lot of real estate, or you have a big team that's doing the sales. But we're out in the field as realtors a lot. I mean, that's where our business happens in other people's homes, which is such an honor to be able to, be invited in people's homes and help them with the biggest financial transactions of their lives. I lost my train of thought.
So the culture, you'd say, is
yes. So the corporate, it just feels a little bit more corporate, more of like maybe I hate to say it, more of like the old school Rolodex type of realtor, where having a community at a cloud-based brokerage, again, it's all at your fingertips. We're all connected through WhatsApp, or we have our workplace. It's not actually called workplace, but it's very similar to workplace with inside our dashboard, where you don't have to wait to see somebody in person. You literally have access to so many people at your fingertips. And we also have our AI assistants that help us with any sort of questions that we might not be able to find out directly from an individual at that given second. But you have Eric AI, and then we now have the broker AI feature as well. So if we have a little bit more of a broker style question that we'd like a baseline answer for, we can kind of just get all of that at our fingertips. So it's really streamlining the accessibility, which is a huge part about being at a cloud-based brokerage.
Yeah. And I feel like the cloud-based, I mean, they're becoming so prevalent that
It's more mainstream now.
It's almost hard to tell the difference in the type of person that it attracts. But I would say it seems like the vibe is people who are really kind of creative, adventurous, like they want to build something that's not cookie cutter. They want multiple streams of income. They're very entrepreneurial mindset, whereas like, I don't know, like the old school, the traditional model, again, there's people like that there. And honestly, sometimes I'm looking at them, holy cow, you could be 10xing your business. It's crazy. I mean, some of these people, I'm like, wow. I mean, what you could have built, but you could still build. But I mean, thinking about like what they could have built on their own, I feel like the cloud base is a little more plug and play. It's kind of your own thing you can create with building a legacy with the agent attraction component. I mean, let's face it, that's like the biggest game changer in the industry.
Yes.
But yeah, like, I don't know, a lot of the people that the traditional brokerage vibe just seems kind of like little cookie cutter cliche. I mean, it's almost like it seems like something I might have gone through in my early 20s, like some of the trainings where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't sit through I can't hear those words anymore. Like the cliche kind of sales trainings.
Yeah.
It's just like make me want to, like, I just can't,
Well, and to add to that, I think just as a country and a society since COVID, things have changed so much, right? Like we don't have to go to the closing table anymore for closings. I mean, before COVID, I never missed a closing. Everybody signed in person. Seller and buyer normally signed together. I mean, very rarely did everybody not kind of kumbaya at the table. And now since COVID, I barely go to closings. The sellers or buyers sign electronically and from different states. So, I think from that perspective, things have like changed so much. So I think there's like a psychology of the way we approach brokerages and also the way we approach our clients and how we do business has changed so drastically with COVID. And I think more of the traditional model is kind of stuck in that old 40-year-old real estate cycle, where now we have cloud-based brokerages that are all trying to find the next best thing, right? The next AI, the next, communication platform that's going to be better, or, with Epic, which still, even though more cloud-based models are coming out, no brokerage is offering the benefits that Epic is offering. And that's just
Okay. What would you tell someone thinking about leaving a traditional brokerage?
I would ask them why they're thinking about moving. What are they missing, right? You really got to find out what the pain point is of why they're thinking of leaving their traditional brokerage. And then it's about helping them make the best decision at what brokerage would be most suitable for them more moving forward, right? What's important to them? Where's the lack at the brokerage they're currently at? And what are they looking for at their next real estate brokerage? And then once we kind of break those answers down, then we can talk about like what is most suitable for them at a cloud-based brokerage and why they think it might be a good fit for them. Again, real estate is so personal, right? Just as it's personal when we go into people's homes, where people decide to join a real estate brokerage is a very, very personalized experience. And my ultimate goal is, again, it's about attracting people that it's a good fit for. Because if you attract people and it's not a good fit and you're leading them with a selfish heart, they're going to end up leaving you anyways. So why not help them make the best fit? And if it's not with you at your brokerage that you're at, help them find a brokerage that makes sense for them. Because then at the end of the day, at least you leave with a friend, and you did the right thing by the agent. I think that is what frustrates me about agents leaving going with these recruiter style attractors, right? They don't sell. They're not in production. They're just literally there for agent attraction because their goal is selfish. And a lot of times agents get caught up going with the wrong people, and then they end up being displeased or dissatisfied because these people overpromised and underdelivered, and they can't help walk them through the trenches because they're on attracting calls all day long and they're not actually in the trenches of real estate. And I also think that there is a logistical importance about aligning yourself with somebody that is in your market versus somebody that is just recruiting on a national scale. And I may get some hate for that. It's just my personal opinion. And I have seen numerous agents who actually have reached out to me through social media who have already been influenced by another person who's not in their market, who is not relatable to them, but at the end of the day, guilted them to joining with them because they had the first conversation with them, right? So I would just lead into pray on it, or if you're spiritual or wherever you get your guidance from, really lean into it's not the first person that you talk to that should be the person that attracts you to a brokerage. It should be the person and the people and the group that you align with the most outside of choosing a cloud-based brokerage. And I just made that point because so many cloud-based brokerages are a rev share or agent attraction model right now, which I think is beautiful, right? I mean, it is another source of income. I think that that's kind of going to be the way for all real estate brokerages soon. So yeah, that's very long-winded answer as to how I would break it down with somebody that I was talking to about leaving a traditional brokerage to a cloud-based brokerage. There's so many folds and like facets to it.
One thing that's really unique, I think, about what Epic's done that hopefully will make it less of that sleazy vibe, which is what the cloud-based brokerages, the agent attraction, rev share brokerages have gotten a bad name for, is that, aggressive recruiting. And yeah, overpromising and all these flashy, cool, wolf packs or whatever, and being a part of this elite like club that does give like this sleazy car salesman sort of vibe. And one thing I think about Epic that's trying to mitigate that is that they do not allow using recruiting as or dangling a VIP carrot in exchange for recruiting to a particular club or group, because you cannot have any calls or meetups or like coaching that is only for your downline or your family. It has to be open to all Epic agents, unless of course it's like an actual paid coaching program or something like that, but you cannot use the recruiting in exchange for that. So it
like
is.
I can't go in and say, I'll give you free access to the connected agent,
right,
if you join with me at Epic. That is a no-no.
right.
And to add on to that, we do have the ambassador program that they have started to implement, where you have to go through the ambassador program before you can, at a very high level, attract agents to the company.
Yeah. I don't even think you're allowed to attract, period. I don't even know that you can be named. I don't know. But anyway, yes, you're right. So they take that all very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that will make us stand out in that way. All right, let me wrap it up here. So to sum it up, if you could just sum up the difference between traditional and cloud in one sentence, what would it be?
The traditional model is the past, and the cloud-based model is your path to freedom, scalability, and a business that fits your life.
Fair enough. All right. Thanks, Lonnie. So let me just transition into a quick 2-minute news update highlights. So here we go.
Yay!
Around with this news.
I am even, so if you're listening, this is news to me because Holly didn't even tell me about this. So we are all listening for the first time together.
All right. Couple bits of news that I like. And so here we go. Okay, that was lame. Let me do this. I'm going to have so much fun with these noise things. Okay. Rapid fire, quick news. All right. So NAR just released I guess you could call this a blog. It's a news and commentary. It's a commentary piece, NAR, about let's talk about compensation, not commission. So basically the gist is they don't want us saying the word commission anymore. They want us to say compensation. And the last 2 sentences of this article says, because compensation is paid, because commission is paid, but compensation, that's earned.
Ooh.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, fair enough, right? I mean, I think it's important to keep the terminology streamlined throughout the agreements. So if we're using compensation agreements, then let's move forward with calling it compensation versus commission.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's fair. Personally, I think this is stupid. I think it's just another one of these dumb, like, let's change the verbiage so we don't sound like we're salespeople.
Sure. I mean, we're splitting ass hairs and it's semantics, and we could get into the details of that. But I think to keep it transparent and less confusion for the consumer, if we're using terminology on paperwork that they're going to sign, let's use the terminology when we're talking to the client.
Fair enough. But like colloquially, we are being paid commission. Like that's how we human beings in this country all understand a percent of a asset in your and you sold it. Like that's your commission. Like what are we doing here? I don't know. I think it's a little ridiculous.
I agree. I we could have a whole episode just on the lack of transparency that has coincide with being more transparent when it comes to compensation. But we can save that for another episode.
All right. Moving on. Housing Wire. Let's see. New news article here. In Florida, actually, your state, buyer owes $24,000 after breaching buyer's broker agreement. Arbitration fines. Woohoo! Listen, buyers, you sign a contract, you sign a contract. Okay? Stick to it.
Yeah, that's actually nice to hear. I'd like to read more about how that all came about. So congratulations to the agent that got paid on what they should have gotten paid on, because we are not free tour guides. We are real estate negotiators. We're professionals, and we work our asses off, and we don't get paid till closing.
Amen, sister. So Jeff Lichtenstein, the broker owner of a Florida-based Echo Fine Properties, found out when his firm entered into arbitration with a buyer after they bought a property with the help of another brokerage, despite signing an exclusive agreement with Echo Fine Properties. So if you want to go work with somebody else, you've got to get a way to release yourself if you don't want to work with them anymore, because I'm happy to see that they're going to uphold our agreements.
Hey, it goes both ways, right? I mean, they're shitty agents that don't abide by their contracts and their fiduciary responsibilities to the client. And the client, when they sign that, they have fiduciary responsibilities and obligations to us as well. So,
yep. All right. Last but not least, then we'll close it out. So, 2 more things. Housing Wire also, average buyer's agent commission ticks up under settlement rules. This one made me laugh because I remember a year ago we had, was it Tally on this call?
And what did I say?
You guys both were against me on this. You guys were swearing that it was going to go up. And I said, no, you know, commission's going to go down. Buyer's agents are going away, blah, blah, blah. And you guys are right. Buyer's agent commissions have ticked up since settlement rules.
I knew wholeheartedly that was going to happen.
And last but not least, this is a big one. I'm not going to get super in the weeds on this because it's a huge topic. We should probably cover in a whole episode. But Politico, White House backing push to attach Senate housing package to must-pass defense bill. So there is a bill that has been weaving its way through the Congress. It's called, if you want to look further into this, it's called the Road to Housing Act of 2025. And looks like they are approving to attach this to the big defense bill that's going through right now. And this is a really interesting bill. The whole goal is to help with housing affordability. I mean, that's really the bottom line. There's a lot to this, some really interesting stuff about streamlining. Even Section 210, Accelerating Home Building Act. This section establishes a HUD-administered grant program to help communities establish pre-approved housing designs or pattern books to help streamline and expedite local construction processes and build more homes. There's also some stuff about accessory dwelling units in here. This is all really interesting, and it's going to be really fun to see how this all actually goes into practice on the local level, from federal to local, if this is going to help us streamline and get more things approved. So this is going to be super interesting. So it's called the Road to Housing Act of 2025, and it is getting attached to the defense bill. It looks like both sides are on board with this act. So that's all I've got.
Round of applause for both sides agreeing on something.
Woo-hoo!
Round of applause.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us today. Everybody rocks. Merry Christmas. All the fun stuff. Have a great day. You know it. Come back and see us again next time.
Yes. Merry, happy, all the things. Bye, friends.
Bye.